They want to shame you because they don't know you like I do. They think you are just another poor, southern, racist, uneducated, drunken shithole, and I am the fearful, beaten wife who doesn't know any better and stands like a pale ghost at your doorway screaming, "Don't leave me!" even with your hands wrapped around my throat. And I don't care. I still tell everyone that you are beautiful, as if I too need to hear those words echo through the valley of their awkward silence like an explosion from a ruptured gas line.
Welcome to Creepalachia. We're mixing it up today. We have some poetry going on in the studio. We're going to talk Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm going to get Amber's thoughts on him marrying like a 12-year-old or something like that.
13.
I think 13.
She was 13, yep. And he was 27.
Okay. We're going to get some thoughts on that. Amber Cook is in the studio. You are a writer yourself, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Good deal. And you were telling me like you went over the hill and through the woods to grandmother's house. We drove like 77 hours to get here from Berkeley County.
It was about 5. I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's okay.
5 that's a lot. And that's all West Virginia hours.
It was, yeah. And
heck yeah.
I drive down this way a good bit though, so I'm used to it.
Well, bless you for making the trip. I think you're officially, let's see. Well, Homer Hickam was from Alabama. So I guess he's technically the farthest, but you're second farthest.
Nice.
So yeah, I have nothing to give you for that, but I'm pretty excited about it. So let's just get started talking about you and where you grew up and how you fell in love with this medium called writing.
Sure. So I was born in Washington County, Maryland, actually, which is the western part of Maryland. So it's still technically in the Appalachian region. And I lived there until I was about 13. And my father passed away when I was 12. And my mother and I moved to Hedgesville in Berkeley County in West Virginia, right over the river. And we struggled for a bit because I know it's a whole production when, a partner dies. So I'm sure my mother wasn't in the best state of mind really the whole time. And we could not, my mother had always wanted to live out anyway. So we kind of live out in the middle of nowhere. There's no houses around. We're kind of out in the middle of the woods. And we struggled for a bit.
Sure.
My father had heart issues when I was growing up, and we could never move out of the city limits there from where we were in Washington County because he needed to be close to the hospital. So to move out to a place where there was nothing and just in the middle of nowhere was a real blessing. I got away from a lot of questionable influences, and I started kind of retreating into books, and my writing got me through a lot of things because my mother didn't have the money or the means to put me through counseling or anything like that. So I was kind of left on my own to deal with the aftermath.
That should be free for kids. I don't care what it,
I had 1 or 2 sessions with the school guidance counselor, and that was about the end of it.
That's depressing. And, I know how close I am with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So were you real close with your dad?
Oh, I love my dad. He was absolutely wonderful. I think he might have been a little bit on the spectrum, but
we all are. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. But he was a train enthusiast. We would go ride the train. We would go up to Cumberland and ride the train every year. He would put a train set around the Christmas tree every year. He would take me to the park whenever he and my mother had opposite schedules. So he would watch me during the day. And even though he had to work nights, he would take me out during the day to the park, and we would spend time together. And we had a really great relationship, luckily. Sounds
like a good dude.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, heart issues. Like what type of, do you mind talking about?
No, that's fine.
Like what was he struggling with?
So his father had heart problems too. So it kind of ran in his side of the family and the men. Mm-hmm. And he had his first heart attack at 35.
Oh, man.
And I was born when I believe he was 42 when I was born. So he had already struggled with this from, before I was born. And I remember him having heart attacks when I was younger, and we would go see him in the hospital, but it was just part of life. It wasn't anything weird to me because I was a kid, it's normal.
Right.
Go and see daddy in the hospital, making get well cards, that kind of thing. And one day, I remember it really well because I had a really terrible day at school. And I got on the bus and came home, and I was so happy to be home. And I go across the street from the bus stop, and I open the door, and my mom was at work, and I see my dad sitting on the couch, and he's got like a church bulletin in his lap sitting there. And I went over to kind of shake him, say, I thought he was taking a nap. He was not taking a nap. He had passed away.
Oh no.
He had a widowmaker heart attack, and even if I had been there would have been nothing that I could have done.
But you found him?
I found him. Yeah. I called my mom, and she ended up calling 911, and they called me at the house. And so I had to go through this whole thing where I had to I was small, I was like 12, and I had to wrestle him down to the floor and try to do CPR, but he was already gone at that point. It was a lot. It was very overwhelming, and it's kind of a core memory for me, though.
Oh, no doubt.
Very traumatic, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the trauma there just sticks with you. Do you remember what you felt after that? Like, is it kind of like a weird surreal moment, like where you don't believe it's going on? Or
it was very luckily I had a lot of community support. A lot of adults from the neighbors came over and kind of kept me, because my mom was obviously busy, and kind of took care of me while she was taking care of business. And I remember it just not feeling real, because at that point I didn't know that he had passed away. I just thought that he was going to the hospital because that was a normal thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't register really until my mother called me from the hospital, and she said, I asked her if he was okay, and she said, I'll talk to you when I get to your grandmother's house. And I remember knowing at that point that he was probably not coming home.
Golly, it's so sad. How did you transfer that onto paper? Was you writing before that, or did you kind of find writing as a way to cope?
Both. I've been writing since I was a kid, like a very small kid, even before I knew the mechanics of actually forming a sentence. I was kind of writing, quote unquote, writing books that I would then read to my grandparents. That it was just basically scribbles on paper, but I was telling stories. And it became, journals and things like that. And then I would kind of dabble in, I wrote a lot of mystery stories when I was younger, wrote a lot of, played around with poetry. Didn't really know much about it. Didn't really know much about anything until I really got into like literary classes in middle school and high school. But I definitely knew that I wanted to tell stories, because my dad, one Christmas, he got me a record player, and we used to go to the library all the time, and I would get records of like Vincent Price reading Edgar Allan Poe stories. So that's kind of where it started. And just kind of the scary stories to tell in the dark, that kind of stuff. I was kind of always obsessed with
those pictures.
Oh my God. Talk about nightmare fuel.
Yes. Did you watch the movie?
I did.
What'd you think?
It wasn't what I was hoping it
was
would
for
be.
Kids.
It was, yeah.
Kind of. I mean, it was cool to see those pictures transferred, but you didn't have the same feeling. And listen, I love Guillermo del Toro. Like, he's the best. Have you saw Frankenstein?
I have. It's beautiful. I cried.
You talk about a movie.
Yes, it was gorgeous and it was so good.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. It just made it gave so much depth to the story that Mary Shelley originally wanted.
Yes.
You know? Like the Universal Studio stuff is fine, but doesn't hold a candle.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's not even in the same ballpark. But yeah, so scary stories to tell in the dark. If for anyone listening, anyone, between the age of 30 and 40 know exactly probably what we're talking about. But yeah, terrifying images. So were short stories kind of your thing after that, or like, what's your process?
That's a good question. I have little sparks where I will jot things down. Now that I have a smartphone, I'll jot things down in my notes app as I'm going. I used to carry around a little quarter size notebook with me, and I would just jot down a passing thought that I had or something that I saw that I thought was really cool, or I would collect pictures from magazines and glue them in there and kind of use it as a kind of a vision board later when I was sitting down to actually write. But I couldn't tell a short story to save my life.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I will meander off on 30 different tangents before I get to the point that I'm trying to make.
Descriptive Stephen King level stuff or what?
Yes.
Like he's wearing a red robe that draped down right below his kneecaps. In the middle had 12 wrinkles, and just going through descriptions of things.
Not quite like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
I definitely feel like men and women have different ways of telling a story, because I can usually tell by reading the story whether it's been a male author or a female author even before you tell me.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like men have a very clinical way of telling a story. It's very cut and dry most of the time. And this is generalization, obviously, but like women are more colors and shapes and textures and tastes and smells and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So, how many stories have you wrote over the years, would you think?
I've written a lot of stories that kind of haven't really gone too many places. My first love is poetry. It's always been poetry. I had this dream when I was in high school that I wanted to write a short, like either a novella or a novel of some kind, and be published before I even graduated high school, which was very ambitious. But I sort of fell in love with poetry probably, I think I was 15, and my mother and I had gone to lunch somewhere, and we stopped at a used bookstore after lunch, and I was kind of browsing the poetry section half-heartedly because I thought it was kind of cool, but I didn't really know too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a little green and white book, and I started leafing through it, and it was the Charles Bukowski reader, Run with the Hunted, and I was just like captivated by it immediately. I was like, I want to do that.
Right.
And then obviously when I got into high school, it was more, William Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe, and I got introduced to more of the classics and things like that.
Vincent Price read Edgar Allan Poe stories?
He did, along with Basil Rathbone, who also has a very distinctive, incredible voice that lends itself very well to those types of stories.
Are these on podcast format somewhere?
I believe you can find them on like Amazon or Spotify.
Okay, I got to do this yesterday.
Yes, you do.
That sounds fantastic. So, I was gonna say, do you want to write haikus in the studio? But I don't know if that's your thing. So I was thinking of one. Okay, what is the haiku structure? It's like
It's
5 syllable.
575.
575.
Yes.
So Edgar Allan Poe, Mayor read a 13-year-old, no jail time for him.
That's really good.
Okay. Thank you. I was trying to. I was like, okay, let me work this out in my brain here.
No, I love that for you. I feel like I should give you an award right now.
Thank you. And listen, it was a different time back then, but at the same time, that's one thing that always freaked me out.
No. It was a different time. I feel like the non-weird part of that whole thing was him marrying his first cousin.
Oh yeah, she was the first cousin.
She was his first cousin, and that was less weird at the time. But him marrying a 13-year-old, that was still weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's weird to me for eternity, but like, what year was this? What year was he? 1890 something?
This was so he was born in 1809. So this would have been.
Okay. See, I'm useless.
This would have been, I believe, 1825, 27-ish, maybe.
Wasn't a crime then, should have been. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But Jerry Lee Lewis, same thing.
Yes. Very
12
true.
years. I think she was 12.
She was 12, yep.
First cousin.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, really, don't obviously, if you're related to him, first cousin, kissing cousins, it's, pedophilic with a dash of something else. But I just want to make sure I don't, call him also an incestual pedophile. Incestual pedophile. That's crazy.
That is.
No one.
Gosh.
Yeah, YouTube's not going to show this video to anyone. But they should, because these things need talked about. Jesus.
I feel like they're getting talked about a lot right now, but we won't get into that.
No, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Thank God. But yeah, so that's been my only struggle with Edgar Allan Poe. I love the stories so much. And then I'm like, but this is weird. And then I'm like, well, okay, but the system let him marry them. Was the parents okay with it? Like, what was going on? I don't know. It just freaks me out.
The weird thing about that, well, there's many weird things about that, but the strange thing about that was Virginia's father he had passed away, and it was required, since she was under the age of consent, that he get permission from her father. And since her father was dead, they falsified her age as 21.
Oh, wow.
On the paperwork. Yeah.
That's awful.
That's even worse, isn't it?
So there was a consensual age back then?
I believe so. I don't know what it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do know that there was there was a limit that even people back then were kind of like, ew.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But also, was there some stipulations that he married her for some kind of financial reason or some kind of thing? It seems like I remember hearing that, like, it's not like he wasn't really attracted to her. Like, they didn't really love each other, but maybe I'm wrong there. I don't know.
There's a lot of speculation about that. I think experts kind of go back and forth on that, but I definitely think that they had a fondness for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Biographers kind of point to, he did write love letters to her.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
he did care about her, but there are some who think that they never consummated their marriage. It was more of like he married her to protect her, and it was kind of more of a brother-sister type of relationship, because he did have extramarital affairs. He was out chasing other women and things like that, but I think he did really love her, and he was really shattered when she finally passed away.
Yeah. And for those wondering, this does tie to Appalachia, because there's a house in St. Albans.
Yes.
Or is it? It's called, go ahead.
I can't remember.
Oh, hang on. But anyway, it's rumored that he was staying there when he wrote The Raven, but I don't think that turned out to be true.
I believe that he wrote The Raven in a boarding house in New York.
Yeah, that sounds more legit, but I like my story, okay? But no, it says, so I brought on, shout out West Virginia explorer David Sibre is coming on the show, but it says, did Poe write The Raven while visiting St. Albans? So the house is Ravens Court Plantation.
Okay.
In St. Albans. He did visit there, but there are some West Virginians that swear he did write it there, but I'm sure, we like to claim things sometimes.
We do. We're really good at that. We like to tie ourselves to everything.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad so we're going to talk a little bit more about Poe. I'm glad we got the elephant out of the room. So, think what you want about that. I definitely hate it. It's, don't condone it. I hate it. And he should have went to prison, but, it was 18, 15, whatever. Maybe that's why he became an alcoholic. You think?
I think he was an alcoholic before that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so tell me about him. What all backstory do you know on him? Because this ties into the collection of poems that you've gathered together that we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. So, I feel like when I started, speaking of that collection, which isn't out yet, but it will be come January, I feel like I kind of resurrected a ghost in a way, because I feel like I was sort of like having a seance while I was writing these things.
Perfect.
It was so, I've never felt that with anything else that I've put together. And it was so overwhelming. And it was the biggest burst of creative energy that I've ever had. It just came all at once and everything just kind of poured out of me. But, what were we talking about?
No. How did when did you have that initial idea to start gathering these stories together and to put it together in this compilation?
Well, the interesting thing is that this is gonna get even worse. I feel like this is gonna be. I know you've talked about addiction and all kinds of things on here, but I feel like I'm pushing it a little bit.
Lord, no.
So my mother passed away in 2021. She was 72. And that really hit me really hard. She was obviously a big figure in my life, and we had a wonderful relationship, and we were really close. We lived together, for many years, not because I couldn't support myself, but just because I didn't want to move out because my mom and I were so close. And I felt a real kinship with Poe in that regard, because he was 3 when his mother passed away.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of shuffled around to different families. He ended up staying with some relatives. His foster mother was really good to him, which she, of course, also ended up passing away from tuberculosis. His stepfather absolutely, it seemed like they had a really contentious relationship. He did not really care for him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Poe ended up going away to the University of Virginia. His stepfather wouldn't pay his, tuition only through a certain period, and then he stopped paying. And Poe ended up going out and gambling a lot, getting massive gambling debts. And so he was really trying to support himself with his writing at that time. He was, submitting all kinds of stuff to literary magazines, trying to get paid. But he ended up just gambling debt after gambling debt. He ended up in the U.S. Army, went to West Point. And same thing while he was there, his stepfather wasn't really, sending him any money. So he would do odd jobs. He would do all kinds of strange things to try to make money. And he ended up going out with his buddies most nights and drinking and playing cards and, carrying on. And at the time that I was writing these poems, I felt sort of like I was in like a weird sort of limbo where I was sort of floating and didn't really know what I was doing with my life. And so I could kind of relate to the feeling of not knowing what to do. You're kind of you have a sense of desperation about you. You're kind of reaching for whatever will bring you comfort in the moment.
Sure.
And I've never had really an addictive personality. So I luckily I never got into drugs or really drinking to a great extent, but I did feel like I was sort of reaching for kind of anything. And I found sort of comfort in reading about Poe's life in a weird sort of way.
Yeah, no, I can see that. And that's sometimes you just gotta escape and dive into someone else's story.
Yes,
I do that obviously all the time. So, but also, I'm totally willing to talk about my own crap too. So that's always a good way to to heal, but you can do too much of that, which I also do. So, so you started. What is it about Poe's writing that you like? Obviously, I love the horror element. I mean, he's the original, really, to me. I mean, I'm sure people wrote horror before him, but no one really was as able to put it in such a descriptive environment, terrifying environment. Like, I read Telltale Heart when I was like 10.
Yeah.
And I was terrified when I put it. I was like, oh my God. Like, you read the last sentence and then you get chills and you're like, okay, well,
yeah.
Now I'm going to go to sleep. No, not
Probably
for days.
not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
But yeah, it was very impactful for me creatively, for sure.
Yeah. Interestingly, my first real exposure, aside from the records and the Vincent Price stories and all that, my first real taste of Poe in pop culture was that episode, the first Treehouse of Horror, The Simpsons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting in my living room on the floor, cross-legged in front of the TV, and I just thought that was the best thing.
Dude, it was so good.
It was, and I sort of dived in after that. I grabbed like a collected stories of Poe and started just feasting on everything.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite stories, I believe, is The Mask of the Red Death, because it's just so full of like I was talking about earlier, the difference between men and women writing, but Poe was so there's so much color and there's so much atmosphere, and you can see it, you can smell it, you can feel it, you can feel the goosebumps on your skin, and he's so impactful.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch Follow House of Usher?
I did not.
Oh my God.
I know it sounds funny, but like I was so, not because I didn't want to, because I love Mike Flanagan. I think he's wonderful. He's a great director. He's one of my favorites, but like I was too close to the material at that point, and like I haven't allowed myself to dive in. I will.
It is incredible.
That's what everybody keeps telling me.
It's and you can it's just inspired by Poe. It's not like he's trying to,
right?
But it is by far the best Flaniverse series. I love them all. My second favorite's Midnight Mass.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Yeah, so good. But Fall of the House of Usher, basically what he did is he put the Sackler family in the world of Edgar Allan Poe,
mm-hmm.
which the Sackler family, for those who don't know, are the creators of OxyContin. They own Purdue Pharma, and to me, they're responsible for countless tens of thousands of deaths and haven't done a day in jail for it. But anyway, they paid $7 billion, but they also made $7 billion.
Exactly.
So, when you put a freaking lawsuit in your business model, you shouldn't have a business, but
Absolutely
they do.
Not.
Yeah,
No.
they put it in the line items. But anyway, I'm so sorry.
No.
So yeah, the Mask of the Red Death, basically. Tell me about that story. Give someone an overview of that story who may not know. And we can spoil it. It's freaking 200 years old. So
right. Spoiler alert.
They should have read it right by now.
You would think so. So there is a Prince Prospero owns rules over this land, this imaginary land, and he owns this giant mansion, giant compound. And there is a plague sweeping through his kingdom at the time, and all these people are dying. It was very reminiscent of the Black Death. Of course, during Poe's time, they were experiencing tuberculosis, which was just mowing down people left and right. And so Prospero invites all of his rich friends, the lords, ladies, and all of his buddies to kind of join him in his mansion. They lock the mansion up and kind of shut the outside world out. And he builds this big party hall where there's one room for each color of the rainbow, and the last room is just red. There's red, black, white, just any color you can think of. And the party moves from room to room as the clock strikes a different hour, and this goes on all night long. And then lo and behold, someone has left a window open, and basically the personification of the plague has slipped into the party. And spoiler alert, all the guests end up dead, and so does Prospero at the end.
I always thought Prospero poisoned everybody. He didn't?
He did not.
That's not what happened.
No,
Okay.
that's not what happened.
Gotcha. Well, I like my version. But no. So Vincent Price was in all the movies too, wasn't he? Wasn't he in that movie?
He was, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Do you have another second favorite? What's the one? The Cask of Amontillado?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the one where the guy, so you got these two guys, they meet up at a carnival, and then one of them doesn't like the other one.
One does definitely, he definitely does. The narrator of the story does not like this guy named Fortunato. And he tells him that he's got this cask of Amontillado, which is like a sherry wine that he got. It's like a vinegary type wine. If you've never had it, it's gross. I think.
Sounds terrible. Wine's awful.
Sounds awful, doesn't it?
Wine is terrible. It does not taste like you think it would. I mean, just let's be honest. But yeah, go ahead.
You know, I feel really triggered right now by that. No, it's but he
Are you a wine fan?
A little bit.
I mean, you know, you do you. I mean, they have these sommeliers for a reason, because there's a lot of different tastes out there.
Yeah,
so I'm sure there's one that doesn't taste like pure dog trash.
Yeah, if you worked at it, I'm sure you could find one that you liked, but it's not that important really at the end of the day.
Right.
So he grabs Fortunato and he says, you know, I got this wine and I'm not really sure if it's actually Amontillado. I think I paid too much for it, and I kind of want you to come sample it and tell me what you think. And Fortunato, of course, has a real big ego about his taste for wine and fine things. So he's, you know, he's kind of, you know, he's into it. So he follows him down to his wine cellar. He takes him deeper and deeper and deeper into this bottomless, like, catacomb type wine cellar. And he brings Fortunato to, like, and Fortunato at this point is already drunk, but he's giving him wine as he goes down the stairs, and he's getting him drunker and drunker. And he goes down there and he's like, oh, it's just through this doorway. And he kind of brings Fortunato into this little attic chamber, and he chains him to the wall. And then he just ends up bricking the attic chamber shut, and there are rats in the wall with him. And at the end of the story, you can kind of he hears Fortunato screaming, and then he puts the last brick in and turns around and walks back upstairs.
Yeah.
And that is gut wrenching to me, because I think to myself, what would that be like if you were just like, you knew that nobody was ever going to hear you. You're just going to stay down there and it's probably asphyxiate to death or be eaten by rats or.
Yeah. I wonder what the stage is. I mean, I would want the rats in there, because otherwise you're just going to sit in there. Like, how long does it take to wait and die? Like a week? I don't know. It just sounds like the worst way to possibly go. It
really does. Poe was a big, he was big on being buried alive.
Why is that?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, but
is it in a lot of the stories? Yeah,
it's a recurring theme. It's either that or it's, you know, there's several themes. There's, you know, buried alive. There's the unreliable narrator, like in The Telltale Heart, and then there is the oh my god, I forgot where I was going with this. There's the unreliable narrator and the deaths of beautiful women.
Oh, yeah.
That was the other one. That was the big one that I was getting to.
Yeah. Well, I hope you don't mind just walking through his whole discography. That's not the word. I know that's for music, but you know, that we're just going to make up words today. But because I can just sit here and listen to you do overviews of stories for hours. But so The Raven, what is it about? I've never read it.
You've never read
I know, quote, The Raven, nevermore, you know, that whole thing. But what is it in particularly about? It's a poem, right?
It is a poem.
Okay.
It is. So before I get into that, the one of the things you asked me before, what it really was about Poe for me that inspires me, and
sure,
I love the way that he crafts things in that it's very musical to the ear. There's a very clear rhythm to it. Even if it didn't have the rhyme scheme, I feel like it would still be very da 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 da. It would be very pleasing to the ear.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm a big music person. I grew up playing instruments, and my dad was huge music fan, so I was always surrounded by it. So that's a big that's a big thing for me. Yes.
Okay.
But the Raven is there's a guy sitting in his study, and he's alone, and he has the window open, and he hears these noises, and he kind of goes and looks at the door. There's nobody at the door, and he hears fluttering, and this raven flies into his house through the door, and it goes and sits on the window at first, kind of looking at him. He's contemplating it, and then there's this bust of Pallas, who I believe he was a Greek philosopher. I could be wrong, but it's like a white marble bust, and the raven flies up and perches itself on this bust of Pallas, and the guy is sitting there. He's reminiscing about his lost love who passed away, which this was a poem that he wrote after Virginia passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in very deep grief at that point. And he is kind of lamenting this Lenore that he lost. Oh, Lenore, Lenore. And he's thinking about, he's kind of turning the raven into sort of like an accusatory person. Like it's almost like the raven is accusing him of being like neglectful, or perhaps he mistreated her while she was alive. And he's kind of arguing with himself. But of course, ravens are very famous for just mocking and mimicking human sounds. So
Right.
The only word that this raven will say is nevermore, nevermore. You're never going to see your lost love again. And it just, he gets so angry at this bird, and he's basically just arguing with himself at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the bird is sort of confirming everything awful that he feels about himself.
Yeah. Doesn't he kill himself at the end, or no?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I'm just listen, I'm pitiful. I've read 3 books in my entire life, maybe, and those are like a collection of 65 books that I did not finish. So they may have all added up to be 3 total books. I'm an audio person. Just because now my daughter, she's read hundreds of books. She
Good for her.
loves it. Yeah. And I enjoy it too. I cannot sit down. I cannot sit down and focus, But hey, I like having them and having that tactile, relationship with the book. But anyway, the Raven ain't that long, is it? Is it like a?
It's kind of like, as far as poems go, it's definitely not an epic
Right.
or a ballad, but it's lengthy, but it's not unsurmountable,
Right. I got you. So there's different types of poems, like a epic and a ballad. What is that?
So a ballad, I believe, tells I'm trying to remember.
Sorry to bring you back to college.
Yeah,
but
this is like college stuff.
Yeah.
That I don't remember anything about. I believe a ballad is like a sort of like a
ain't it a song? Is it not?
it's like a musical type of spoken word that was sort of like venerated, I believe, war heroes and things like that. I think it could be about like battles and great battles, great,
Well,
wars.
murder ballads.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are fun. We've had those are good time. We've had a artist come on and do murder ballads, perform some murder ballads in the past. But yeah, that's basically where people used to, which they still do. But they would, like, a murder would happen, and it'd be a form of documentary to me.
Yes.
That would last over the years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So they would take the happenings of it and put it into a song format. And then that way people would remember, because it's so repetitive, like the melody,
Right.
and stuff like that.
Well, because you think for so many hundreds of and thousands of years, like, people didn't have, like, you would write stuff down, but the primary way that people entertained themselves was around, like, you get around the fire or the dinner table and people would tell stories. And, I believe that's another thing that I believe that poetry is really, like, it should be great on the page too, but I feel like it's definitely meant to be read aloud and experienced rather than just, stared at.
Yeah. Yeah, the to me, they were documentary filmmakers before the technology was accessible.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was like a way to share things. Like you said, I'm sure there were a lot more people that were illiterate back then, I would say. I don't know that for a fact, but I would say a lot more people were illiterate and didn't really read a lot back then. So that was a way that everyone could share.
Yeah, well, that's like when they would have like Shakespearean theater, they would all go to the Globe Theater and they would watch a play, and it was considered sort of like a peasant's form of entertainment at that point. And now, rich people have to pay, you have to pay $200 for a theater ticket to go see anything good.
Ain't that crazy?
It is. It really is.
Yeah. Which I know you got overhead and you got all these things, but at the same time, kind of sucks. It's like I made this movie. I spent a lot on it. It's called The Mothman Prophets. And
yes.
I was trying to think if like I'm going to have screenings for it or figure out some way. And the only thing about the screenings is I don't want to limit it. Like if some kid out there is like 10 years old and they're wanting to watch it, but they can't go to a screening or their parents won't take them or whatever. Like I want it accessible to them, even though, it's a little gory. So the parents need to know that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my YouTube membership model and then charge like $3 a month.
I think,
and then people could get on there and they get all the other videos early, like as soon as I upload them and stuff like that.
I'm real excited to see it because I know you've been talking about it a lot and it sounds really, really cool.
You'll have to let me know what you think since you're a real storyteller.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So, all right, Pit and the Pendulum.
Yes.
What's that one about? It's got the big swooping battle axe thing.
Yeah, so apparently the guy who winds up in this pit he's complete darkness. He doesn't know what's going on. He wakes up. He's been passed out for a while. And it seems like, and it's been a while since I've read some of these, so we're
not going to hold you to it. Listen, just tell me whatever. I'll be like, what, the Avengers showed up? That's crazy.
No, I know that there are some English majors out there losing their absolute minds right now.
Hey, give them something to talk about.
Exactly. I'm 43 years old. I forget a lot.
and plus, we don't care. Like, no, we don't care anymore.
It's not that serious.
You get in the 40s, you're like, life's short. I really don't care.
Exactly. I enjoyed it, and that's all that matters.
That's right. Yeah.
But anyway, he it seems like he's a prisoner of war of some kind, and I'm figuring this out in real time. He was a prisoner of war. Forget I said that.
Perfect.
And he wakes up in this pit and he smells sort of like the scent of, I can't remember if it's sulfur or like iron, but he definitely hears the whoosh of this pendulum moving back and forth. And then his eyes sort of adjust and he can see it. And there are rats in the pit with him and they're crawling up and they're biting him. And he's tied to this table and he can't get up. And it's a really harrowing thing to read this story, and you can feel like his terror is very palpable. You can feel because the pendulum swings down and it swings down, and then all of a sudden it lifts back up right before it would cut into him. And at one point it comes so close that it starts to cut his ropes, so he's able to get off the table. But then the floor starts to retract out of this pit, and he's like, "I'm gonna fall into this pit and be gone forever." And then at the end of the story, I believe I think he was a prisoner of the Spanish Inquisition, because I remember them coming into the pit it's sort of like a moment where like the lights come up and he basically says to him, "You're free now, brother." And it's a very, oh my God moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much all I remember.
That sounds,
that story.
Is there any Poe stories that had a happy ending?
I think
I'm curious.
Maybe the Gold Bug, which is one that I know it's famous, but not a lot of people seem to talk about it.
Oh, I don't know it.
And I can't.
No, I've never heard about that one time.
I don't want to, and see, I don't want to talk about this one too much because while I love it, I can never remember the ending. I have to go back. I always have to go back and revisit it because I can't.
We can skip that one. So it's possibly happier though. The Gold Bug.
I mean, as happy as Poe gets, I guess.
Right. How many stories did he write?
More than I remember.
Right.
Quite a lot. I think he wrote one full length. I believe it was one full length book, like it was an actual novel, and it was just like critically panned. Like people just hated. The critics hated it. They hated it. They tore him to pieces. And I think a lot of that had to do with he worked as a literary critic for a good portion of his life in New York and Richmond and Baltimore, and he tore people to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
Emerson and Mark Twain hated him. They talked trash about him all the time. It was just like, and it's so funny to think about these Victorian men just having this rivalry with each other.
Yeah.
You don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah. Mark Twain was like, he married like his 13-year-old first cousin.
Yeah.
Like, y'all know that, right? And then they're like, no, I didn't know that. And it's like, yeah. And then they're like, okay, we don't like him either. Or they're like, oh, that's cool. I know it's legal now. I'm going to go marry my 13-year-old cousin.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, then we all married our 13-year-old cousins back then. Let's be honest. No, I'm kidding. Too many jokes. But so you started gathering up stories. Is there any other authors in Appalachian Gothic, which is the name of your compilation?
Yes. I don't believe so. I think I was pretty Poe-centric.
How many did you end up putting together? Are they all public domain? Pretty much?
I believe so, because they're so old that you can pretty much just Google and they'll pop up in a file, probably.
I think you can like redo, there's so many people that do short films of the books and different things like that. So
there's so much.
I'm sure it's public domain.
Oh yeah, there's so much Poe media out there. And actually in Baltimore every year in the first weekend of October, they have the Poe Fest International, which takes over that whole stretch of blocks in front of where the Westminster Burying Ground is, where he's buried, and the Poe House Museum. And they have, film screenings, they have vendors, they have Poe impersonators there strolling around telling stories. They have readings. It's a good time. Like if you're ever up that way, that's probably something to check out.
Yeah, for sure. I have a shirt that says "When it rains, it poes."
I have that shirt too.
Oh, do you? And it's got like the umbrella in the rain. Yeah, that's funny. Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh no, that was really bad.
Was that?
I'll let it slide.
I'm sorry. Oh Lord. Okay, I'm done talking about that. But so is there any other particular stories we're leaving out? I'm trying to think. Those are I just know the main Criterion collection of Poe. I don't know the B-sides, I guess you'd call them. But are there any little known stories that are among the favorites for you?
I mean, I don't know if it would be considered little known, but The Black Cat is a really cool story.
I've never heard it.
Wow. Okay.
Let's go. We got to do an overview of this.
Okay. So there is a man who has all these pets. He loves animals. He's a very everyone considers him to be like a really kind, wonderful person. He loves animals. He has, all these pets, and he's got this black cat that he absolutely loves. And again, this is one of those that I haven't read in a really long time, and I forget what happens to him, but at some point he ends up becoming really like his personality changes. He sort of does a 180, and he becomes very cruel and kind of abusive to his wife and to his pets. He ends up getting rid of a lot of his pets. He has this cat. The cat keeps, coming back to him for affection, and he keeps, he'll kick it away, or it's a very triggering story if you love animals. It's gonna yeah. And he ends up, trigger warning for all the animal lovers out there, he ends up basically stringing this cat up. He hangs it, and it dies. And then at one point there is a fire at the house. It burns the house down to cinders, and he is sort of haunted by this new cat that shows up that looks suspiciously like his old cat. And it's kind of vicious, and it sort of it brings him a lot of bad luck. And then, it's another one of those where I can't remember exactly how the story ends, but in true Poe fashion, I'm sure it's not happy.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's just terrifyingly depressing. Man, hanging cats.
Yeah.
Well, and so let's talk about his alcoholism. He had some kind of disease, right? Where he'd drink like 2 beers and he'd be wasted off the frame level.
So there's speculation about that. A lot of, according to, I guess, a lot of people who knew him, who were interviewed after the fact, said that they never really saw him drink, a whole lot. It was always like 1 or 2 drinks, and he would just be like stupid, like on the floor, carrying on, or they would have to carry him home. And there is I forget what it's called, but it's definitely where the enzyme that breaks down alcohol does not exist in your body. And it sort of, it allows, basically you're just poisoning yourself at that point, and you become overly intoxicated. And I don't know if that's true. And again, that's something that's up for debate with a lot of experts, I think, but it's a possibility.
Sure.
Just from the eyewitness accounts and all.
And he has a very suspicious death.
He does.
So tell me about that.
So he was seen that day out drinking, and people who saw him, apparently, who were interviewed, said that he seemed a little out of sorts. He seemed like, it seemed like he had been out drinking for a while. He was very like incoherent, kind of muttering to himself. And then at one point he ends up, I think, passed out in a gutter outside the, one of the taverns in Baltimore, and he was taken to a doctor's office, and they kept him at the hospital for, I forget how many days it was, but he kind of came in and out of consciousness. I don't think he ever really regained full consciousness at that point, but his last words were, my poor soul. And then he ended up just passing away. And he was also found in clothes that didn't appear to be his. No one had seen him in those clothes before. And interestingly enough, he also, and this ties into one of the theories of his death, is that he was also found in the gutter. It was like 10 days before he was supposed to be married to this woman, Sarah Elmira Royster, who he had also had a relationship with and been engaged with when they were, I think, 15.
Jesus.
I know.
Come on, dude.
He was 15, she was 14, so it was a little more age appropriate at that point.
Poe's in the Epstein files. You know
probably.
That, right? Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
He's on the list. Oh, God. So dipsomania? I don't know. A psychologist suggested that Poe had dipsomania. I don't know. That's the low alcohol intolerance.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how you say that word, but there you go.
That's above my pay grade. I don't know what that is.
But the thing with the different clothes too, there was a theory that, so they used to, back in the day, gangs would like take people,
yes,
change their clothes,
yes,
and make them vote.
It was called cooping.
Yeah, cooping.
Yes.
So that was around election day, wasn't it?
It was election day, actually. Yeah. He was they would get them drunk, and they would change their clothes constantly, and they would take them from place to place and have them vote for the candidate that they wanted. And so that
we used to be bananas. I mean, we still are.
We still are. There's no
but think about that. It's like, all right, we got to go cooping, boys. We got to make sure Floyd wins this year.
Yeah, humanity has not really evolved in the ways that we think we have.
Oh, Lord.
Except we have smartphones now. That's about it.
I know, right? That's worse.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, Lord.
But if I were to put my stock in a theory, that would be the one that I would choose. There was another theory that he had some undiagnosed medical condition, aside from the, not being able to process alcohol, and he ended up exacerbating it with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who think that he finally got tuberculosis and, exacerbated it with alcohol. There's also another theory that Elmira Royster's father, who had broken up their engagement when they were younger, they thought maybe he had sent her brothers after him to beat him up and kind of, put the fear of God into him, and ended up killing him. But I don't, that has a lot of there's a lot of holes in that story. I think probably the cooping is the most likely that I would lean towards.
Man, that's crazy. But would he die of a heart attack or something? Like, what?
The official diagnosis was, I believe it was brain congestion, which I don't know what that means. I don't know if he maybe had brain swelling and they couldn't think of anything else to put on the death certificate.
Did
I don't
he get
know.
beat?
What's that?
Did he get beat or anything? Or I'm not sure how that. Which I guess your brain could swell if it had a lot of alcohol in it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't really know. I'm not a doctor.
I'm not either.
Yeah,
I know nothing.
Yeah, that's why I'm here just rambling. Well, what year was that? 18.
That was 1849. He died when he was 40 years old.
Didn't even get to see the Civil War. Daggone.
Oh no. Yeah, that's another thing, is that West Virginians trying to tie themselves to it. It's like, we weren't even a state. Calm down.
Right. Yeah. There's the whole thing. I've been so I did a little skit where I talked about two people arguing about West by God, Virginia.
I saw that.
Okay, yeah. So there is the Wiley Amendment that West Virginia had to adopt to literally become a state. And that's what I always go back to, of saying, okay, well, there's physical proof that West Virginia moved towards abolishing slavery before the 13th Amendment. Right. It's a literal document that says, we're going to abolish slavery. Yeah, it should have been totally abolished, but it basically said, like, and talking about slaves is so sad and depressing. And I want to let everybody know that first is like, this is just an awful time period in history.
Yeah, just so we're on the same page.
So we're on the same.
Slavery is bad.
Yeah,
okay?
So we're on the same page. I mean, you never know people out here, Amber. They'll throw down. But anyway, I think, to my understanding, the Wiley Amendment basically said, slave children born, after this year will be considered free. And then after slaves now turn like 21, then they'll be considered free. And then slavery is no more. So it was kind of transitioning out of it. So that was the Wiley Amendment. That was in 1863.
Yes.
For West Virginia to become a part of the Union, they did that because the Union was like, well, we're not about slavery, so you got to do this. And then we were like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We're going to take all these counties and we're going to form West Virginia because we don't agree with the values of the Confederacy. And that was part of it. So anyway, and then there's people saying, like, it was a border state and all kinds of different things that are very valid arguments for sure. But to me, it always just boils down to the legislation literally saying, like, we're not going to have slaves here in West Virginia, But anyway.
Well, and the sad part about that is that it wasn't even the slavery part of it that got everyone to agree, which is wild to think about now. But it was because we had all those industries where we were sending all our money to the eastern part of the state and they were taking all our money, and the western part of the state was like, well, why are we sending you all this money and you're not giving us any infrastructure, or, we're not represented. And they wanted to separate anyway, but they were unable to do so because of it's some technicality. And then they basically used the Civil War as a loophole and were like, you know what? We're out.
Yeah. I think there's actually 3 states that formed during that. And I can't remember the other 2. But yeah, we didn't get things lined out. It took after the mine wars and after, because it definitely large part about money, but at the same time, that was a progressive step towards having a proper civilization. So I'm a glass half full type person, but yeah, there's still, the corporation still owned us, and, it took, I think it was, 80 more years before the Union could get fired up and going, and scrip was taken out. I think we still had scrip in like the 50s. I can't remember when scrip was taken away.
I believe you're right, because I remember Homer Hickam was talking about how his family was still using script. They were still in the mining town with the company store, right?
Wow. See, it says so Colt script lasted until the mid 1950s. So,
Okay, yeah.
With some isolated uses continuing until the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 officially outlawed it in the United States. While legally outlawed in 1938, some companies continued to use script until it was officially abolished by Congress in 1967. Dang!
That sounds right, though.
67? It does sound right, because we were doing a lot of sketchy stuff in the 60s still. Are now.
Yeah.
But, man, people are crazy, man. You can't just like DoorDash a chalupa and live life and be like, I don't care who you love, do whatever. You can't, people just get so upset.
We should be, as human beings, we should be just like laying in the sun, raw dogging life, just having a grand old time, eating fruit off the trees. We can't do that. We got to pay taxes and have a stock market and economy, and it's all made up.
Oh, taxes are insane.
I'm mad at the government.
Yeah. I mean, that's typically we all are all the time. It's just we can't, I love, one of my favorite facts though is I've never known my neighbor's political affiliation.
That's
good. I never have.
Yeah.
And no one cares.
Not really at the end of the day.
I mean, they don't care, except like they're not going to have these conversations in person.
No.
The way they are online.
Oh, absolutely
you're not
not.
going to get in front of somebody and like blast them out, Like even this is like, we don't do politics, but
right.
On our comment thread, people will get on and say some goofy things.
Oh, I know. I've restrained myself.
I mean, it's fine.
It's whatever.
Well, I was telling you, I'm getting like 1,000 a day, and it's a big blessing. But I had to kind of check out. But people just love getting on there and dropping some kind of grenade, and then you just can't pay attention to it.
Yeah. Then they drop their bomb, and then they roll off into the sunset.
Yeah, it's like I don't know this person. Like literally, I have no clue who this is. Why am I getting up in arms? And I did early on. But then I was like, if there's been several trolls, which we haven't had a lot, but there's been several trolls that will keep on commenting their stuff, and it'll transition into just normal comments after they listen to the show for long enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what it's about.
Well, that's what we need. We need more people just talking to each other, because we have so much in common. We all want the same stuff.
Sure.
We really do. At the end of the day, we want to be fed and happy and have our families taken care of. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, exactly. It's, and that's why I kind of started. I was like, people just need to hear some good stories and some history and some creepy stuff. And
yeah, for sure.
Let's just attempt to get along. I mean, there's a bunch of outlets doing that, but,
the Goths are going to save the world, man.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Son. So, would you consider yourself a Goth?
No.
Okay.
No, not really. I mean, I appreciate it. It's a whole. The thing about that is, it is a whole culture. They got the music, they got the fashion. I'm too lazy for all that.
What is the culture?
Good question. It's mostly about. It's a lot about fashion and music, and like it's sort of like pop culture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get that deep into really anything at all. And I don't want to spend money on a whole new wardrobe. Black is very hot. Like,
yeah,
in the summer, I can't commit to that.
Right.
But I appreciate the culture. I appreciate the, community that, people have. They take really good care of each other.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. And, people who are fans of, I believe, like alternative media and stuff, they really have a worldview where they do just want to they want everybody to be okay.
Sure.
Regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's sweet. Yeah. Which I have several goth friends, and it's just never been a thing to really tell. It's just like, oh, that's, their look. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's not really even been a thing and you talk to them and they're just normal people. So why did you come up with the title Appalachian Gothic?
So a big part of it was that, aside from the Poe stuff, I was really kind of exploring, what does it mean to live and work and grow up in this region, as far as like, how does it shape you as a person? How does it shape the way that you react to things, the way that you take in news and culture, and how do you just live, especially with like, as the opioid epidemic, people dying every day trying to scrape by, a region that is just like rife with poverty, but people are still kind and good to each other. And whenever I go travel, because I travel a lot usually to go do readings and events and stuff, and it's always really interesting to have people ask me about this part of the country, because they don't know. Like, we're so proud, and they're like, well, what is it about being in Appalachia that you're proud of? And I have to tell them, it's people, it's the people, it's it's the landscapes, it's just what makes me an Appalachian. And I kind of wanted to dive into that as far as just what does it mean to me? And then it sort of turned into, well, how did this influence my grief for my parents and my grief for this region of the country that is underrepresented and valued a lot of the time. And I kind of just wanted to lay that out for people, and lay that out for myself, and paint a clearer picture of that. So I sort of thought to myself, I had read a thing while I was doing the Poe stuff, that he, of course, because he went to West Point, he went to the University of Virginia, he spent time in the Appalachian Mountains, and he had even proposed at one point that America should be renamed Appalachia.
Really?
Yeah.
How do we know this?
It is. He wrote about it. He wrote a lot about it. He wrote op-eds and things.
Oh, I'm making a note about that.
Yeah. He felt that it best represented the ideals of what this nation should really be. I know that he fell in love with the nature. Of course, this was all Virginia at the time, and he was a Virginian through and through. He appreciated the mountains. He loved the landscape. He loved the rivers. He loved the James River. He, despite what people think, he was actually quite a really great athlete. He swam against the current of the James River for I think it was like 7 miles or something. Something
Good
crazy.
Lord.
Yeah. And all of that kind of presented itself into a glorious melting pot of stuff that I had to pull from as far as inspiration. But I wanted it to be this picture of what it is to just be human and be here.
Yeah.
Long story short.
So how did you do that? Did you kind of write a little bit, and then you'd frame a story and say, here's a Poe story that's relative to this? Or kind of, how did you piece the book together to do that?
It came in spurts. It for lack of a better word, it all sort of spluttered out of me, I guess. And it kind of came out in what I refer to as a cohesive mess, because I did have to go through and organize everything. But even the Poe stuff, which you would think, I kind of put Poe into, in some poems, I would put Poe into Appalachia as a modern Appalachian growing up in the 20s or 30s. And then I would, write about Poe as if he was living in the modern world. And somehow all of this sort of, it just sort of worked. I don't know how else to explain it.
No, that's fun. So give me an example. What's one story you tell in the book related and how you tied him to Appalachia? Was he eating beans and cornbread?
Kinda.
Yeah. He already married his cousin.
Exactly.
So we're
halfway there.
Listen, y'all. I live in southern West Virginia. Okay, I can make that joke. You can't. All right,
exactly.
Go ahead.
That's what I always tell people. I was like, I'm allowed to say that, but you are not at all.
Nope.
So What was the question? I was
No, so like, what's one example of how you wrote him into Appalachia? Like, is there a certain story that you told about him?
Yes. So there are two poems. One about, I kind of placed him in Boone County because I thought that sounded right.
With Jesco?
I did. That sounded right.
That's fabulous.
Jesco is not in there, but he probably should be. But he, in the poem, he's sort of speaking as someone who is growing up like in poverty and like traversing the mountains, finding, talking to crows in the woods, talking about his mother. He grew up seeing his mother being sick. And there's one really
huffing gasoline.
No, not that.
Okay, gotcha.
But there was one really cool image where the mother in the poem, she sort of spits up blood into a pie tin. And he's like, I felt ashamed about it, but that was very beautiful to me to see the red blood against the pie tin in the dark house. And
I'm down. Yeah. It's dark, Amber.
It is.
I like it.
It is, but I have a lot of dark stuff to pull from. So
yeah, I love it. Do you like mention towns or any like you got Boone County in there? What
Boone
other
County's
counties
in
you got in
there.
there? You got
McDowell.
McDowell's in there.
McDowell makes an appearance in there. Welch is in there.
Let's go. What's he doing in Welch? Did he murder Sid and Ed? What happened?
So Poe is actually not in Welch.
Okay.
But however, Mothman makes an appearance.
Really?
Yeah, he does. He's in Welch. He's in a hoodie and he's in a convenience store and he's buying a cup of coffee.
I gotta read this story. For some reason, I just thought that you took a compilation of his stories and then put them in a book and then like wrote around it. So you like wrote a whole full-fledged Poe in the Appalachia book.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay.
Well, and it's not all about Poe.
I do all my research, y'all. You know, I'm well prepared for these interviews. Just so impressive.
Well, to be fair, I didn't really send you stuff to like prepare yourself. So
thank you. I appreciate the olive branch.
Give you that.
Thank you.
But it's not all about Poe, but it's definitely. There are lots of pieces where I write about, my mother, or I write about my husband, and which I forgot to mention that I am married and he's very wonderful and he supports all of this nonsense. He is alive.
Thank God. Okay.
He does often joke about how much money I would make if I killed him. And,
gotcha.
No one ever found out.
I mean, we all make those jokes.
Yeah, of course. Do we?
I mean, not really. I don't know.
That the happy couples make those jokes.
No judgments. Oh, me and Jenna like will roast each other.
Yep.
And it's a fun time though.
It's great.
Yeah, it really is. Like,
that's how you know that it's a good relationship.
Yeah.
I really feel that way.
Oh, she's way funnier than I am. Way funnier.
Women usually are funnier.
Yeah. I mean, it's the truth. She's that's where I get my inspiration from. She's good. And can be, she's got a great heart, but she also cannot give a crap. Like,
that's way to be.
So yeah, that I wish I was more like that in a lot of ways, but yeah. So it's kind of like, is it a memoir? Ish.
There are parts of it that could be, and I often throughout my career, I didn't mention this earlier because I know that so I refer to West Virginia as the biggest small town in the country because that's basically what it is. And I know it's Creepalachia, Appalachia, but it's West Virginia here.
Sure.
We're
the only state fully within the borders of Appalachia.
Exactly. A lot of people around the state know me. Most people probably don't, but I do travel around the state a lot doing readings, and I try very hard to kind of I ride hard. I ride hard for West Virginia when I'm not in the state. But I published my first book. Interestingly enough, I mentioned earlier about how my goal was to have a book published before I graduated high school. But my first book was actually published at 18.
Heck yeah.
I I got a random message. I had been writing blog posts on a random blog, and it sounded scammy to me at first because the guy was like, oh yeah, we sent a scout to go read through the blogs and see if there was anybody with any like real potential out there, and we found your writing and we really liked it and we want to publish you. And I was like,
nice.
Okay. And then I realized it was legit.
Mhm.
So I had my first book published at 18, and then I've just been doing it ever since. And so I've been all over the country. And I remember there is one poem in particular that I read at every reading, no matter where I'm at, if it's not in West Virginia, and it's called Dear West Virginia. And it's probably, there are a lot of people that know that one because I share it every year on West Virginia Day. But I'm always telling people that the stereotypes that they've heard, get that out of your head. This is what we're really about. This is how we live. We're good people. We're not marrying our 13-year-old cousins. We're not,
Not all of us.
Yeah, not all of us.
No. No, we cracked down on that, thankfully, in the 1900s. Good God.
No, but if a funny story, and I feel like I'm all over the place with
No,
this,
you're
but
perfect. You're perfect.
When I was out in Portland, I was doing a reading out there, and a guy came up to me after the reading, and he said, I haven't heard that accent in a really long time. And I was like, what do you mean? What accent? What are you talking about? Because, I feel like we know, but we don't know until you go somewhere else, and then you realize I sound like cornbread and biscuits.
Right.
And he's like, well, I went to college in Towson. And he's like, we would always go into West Virginia to party and stuff. And he's like, I remember hearing that accent. It really brought me back to college. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But everyone has been really kind and really accepting of my message, and that, and I've actually convinced a lot of people to come hang out in West Virginia.
Sure. We need people.
We do.
We do. Yeah. I agree. It's not a simple, it's not a simple yes or no answer. There's so many different life experiences in West Virginia. And of course, you're going to have stereotypes and this and that. And of course, some of them are relative, but it's really not a lot. Like you'll meet 99 times out of 100, you'll meet a great person in West Virginia. And I'll always believe that. Who's accepting and, will talk to you like you're a member of the family, and will help you out and give you the shirt off their back, all that stuff. Of course you have idiots, but you got idiots everywhere. You just got to live your life. And that's what I try to do, is just represent this place and say, listen, it's like, everybody just calm down. Like, we got a lot in common here. So
sure.
I love that. Can you read the poem? Do you know it by heart?
I do not, but I
bring it up. Yeah. I mean,
can.
you can't talk about it and then not read it. And is that a Grafton monster?
It is it is not a Grafton monster. It is a Fresno nightcrawler.
What? Oh, so what? Fresno where?
Probably California, I believe.
So there's a cryptid out there?
Oh, there's cryptids everywhere.
Well, I know every state pretty much has cryptids now, but Appalachia was the OGs. Appalachia was the OG cryptids. I don't care what anyone says.
You are correct.
Yeah.
I hope you're going to cut this out.
Lord, no. I'm leaving the entire thing.
Oh, please don't do that.
I love that phone case, though. It's
Thank
pretty.
you.
And your Poe shirt. It's got like ravens flying around, all kinds of good stuff. Oh, yeah. While you're looking, I got to shout out John Neese, my friend. He's the actual one who wrote that Edgar Allan Poe joke. So I got to shout him out. He is the original writer. We actually did. So I had a podcast before this that doesn't exist anywhere anymore, but it's called Cryptic Dish. And we actually did a story on the death of Edgar Allan Poe.
Ooh.
So I kind of knew a little bit about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's gone forever though. It's nowhere to be found.
That's sad.
But he said that joke on there, and I've always remembered it.
It's a good joke.
Yeah, it's a good joke. It's a good joke. Shout out, John. But yeah, go ahead.
All right, I found it. Dear West Virginia, you are the handsome shadow of every man who has ever bought me a drink in a white trash bar on a Friday night, and you are the only lover who has ever deserved the poem I will write for you. You are the bones of coal miners buried deep inside a devil's furnace of earth and rock, and the daughters who are left behind on their knees spilling tears into the ground. And despite what you may think, I don't care if you are half lit and rowdy and your Saturday nights are a run-on sentence punctuated with bullet holes and broken mailboxes. I don't care if you are too busy carrying on with your redneck buddies, too busy shooting out streetlights to notice the new dress I'm wearing or the shine of tears in my eyes when I see your name scrawled like dirt in newspapers, in magazines tossed out to the coyotes like the mess of guts after a good long hunt. They want to shame you because they don't know you like I do. They think you are just another poor, southern, racist, uneducated, drunken shithole, and I am the fearful, beaten wife who doesn't know any better and stands like a pale ghost at your doorway screaming, "Don't leave me!" even with your hands wrapped around my throat. And I don't care. I still tell everyone that you are beautiful, as if I too need to hear those words echo through the valley of their awkward silence like an explosion from a ruptured gas line. You are trash bags and beer bottles piled in the roadside ditches. You are the smell of sulfur and rotted meat and gunpowder. But you are also the soft brush strokes of aurora borealis against a coal-black mountaintop sky, and forests full of white-tailed deer and black bear and the rough, gentle hands of honest men. Never let them tell you that you are not a maverick, West Virginia. You carved your jagged spine, the hard, gritty perfection of your own body from the poor, sagging bosom of Appalachia, and never once did you even dream of asking for permission. You are America. You are freedom and honey and rivers and country roads leading me home when I feel empty as a dried up well and have forgotten who I am and why I keep on living even when my heart is split down its center like the seam of a mountain about to be blasted wide open. I am the canary who will sing for you even when the world grows dark and heavy and airless as a collapsed mine shaft, and I'll be goddamned if they ever shut me up.
Amber, that's incredible.
Thank you.
I got chills. That's incredible. I'm not even, that's so good.
That's my love poem.
Oh, man. I love that. When did you write that?
I wrote that, I want to say that was in 2013, maybe 2014.
Wow. How long did it take you? Was it one of those things like the Beatles? They wrote, Hey Jude in like 5 minutes.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I've definitely edited it a fair bit, but I think it just poured right out of me.
That's beautiful. Now, how many books do you have published?
I have, good question. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this will be my 5th one.
I was hoping you get up to be like 6, 7.
6, 7. Yeah. Not quite.
Oh, no, that's incredible. Is there a place that people can go online to purchase said books? Do you have audio versions for
I
simpletons like me?
I do not have audio versions. I kind of wish that I did, and that might be a thing in the future, especially with the new one, because I feel like these are poems that need to be read. And
if you want to record it, you're welcome to come to the studio anytime, do the whole version.
I would love to do that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I'll just sit down here and listen to you for like 7 hours, however long it takes. How cool. So is it on Amazon or anywhere?
I am on Amazon.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And I'll put a link in the description. What are the books that you've written?
They're all poetry. Because I can't, it's like we have a toxic relationship. I can't get away. And it's so funny to me because obviously poetry is not a thing that you get into if you want to make a lot of money, unless you're like, one of those Instagram poets who just hits the nerve and just becomes like the biggest thing ever. It's very incremental. like I said, I've been doing this since like 2002, and I feel like I'm just now like really hitting my sweet spot.
Do you get on social media?
Yes.
So you read and do reads on there?
I do.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
I have some readings on TikTok that are kind of raw.
Yeah. Awesome.
But my so Cook is my married name, and my name that I had published under previously was my maiden name, Decker, Deckeer. This new book, however, it's a new era. It's a new era of me, so it's going to be under Cook.
Slay.
Yeah, Slay for sure.
Cool. That's great. Did Poe ever have a ghost? Did he ever like write under a pseudonym or anything like that?
I want to say I think that he did. I can't remember what it was, but I can't remember for sure. I feel like there have been so many stories about Poe, and it's hard to tell sometimes what is fact and what is fiction. And I think it might be one of those things where someone read something and said Poe might have published this under this pseudonym, but there's no like telling for sure.
Sure. And
I do like he had a rival when I don't know if you guys discussed this on your Buried
we
podcast.
Didn't go too deep. No.
Okay,
we did like a little overview.
So Poe had a rival who was also I forget what literary magazine that they were both working for. I believe it was in Baltimore, but the man's name was Rufus Wilmot Griswold. And he harbored this absolute resentment for Poe. Like, he hated this guy. And I think that Poe had torn one of his books to shreds, basically, in one of his columns. And ever since then, he hated him. He hated him deeply. And after Poe passed away, he wrote a very scandalous obituary about how the world is now better off without this alcoholic, opium smoking menace, basically. And he said a lot of things that were probably not true about Poe. He definitely slandered him a good bit, but for quite a long time, people just sort of latched onto that and really believed that, because I really believed a lot of these horrible things that Griswold said about him, and most of them were not true. Like, he was never an opium dopehead or anything like that. He never. I think he was accusing him of sleeping with his wife at one point, which never happened.
Goodness gracious!
Yeah.
He put that in the paper about his own wife.
Well, he wrote it. Interesting. You spoke about pseudonyms. He wrote the obituary under a pseudonym.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which I can't remember what the name was, but people definitely they knew it was him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's now enshrined in historical fact that this guy basically tore Poe to shreds after he died.
Wow, I'll have to look that up. What place in Virginia was Poe from?
He was from Richmond or thereabouts.
So he was an Appalachian? Wasn't Richmond Appalachia? I can't remember. I have to look that up.
Right outside. I don't believe that it could be.
Let me look it up.
But I don't think it is.
We may break it right here. Appalachia. Okay, Richmond, Virginia let's see. Crap. I didn't do that right. Is Richmond, Virginia, Appalachia? No.
So close.
It's on the outskirts.
Well, he did. I mean, like I mentioned before, he did attend the University of Virginia, which is at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And
right.
He definitely traveled through here a good bit.
Gotcha. It actually helps that, like, he's not Appalachian and married his first cousin. It's like, see, yes. Y'all do it too.
Yeah, we don't need more of that.
Daggone it.
Because Poe was definitely a city boy, for sure.
Right.
He preferred his urban landscapes, I think.
Sure. Oh, man, I don't see why. Golly, it's awful.
Oh, and I meant to mention earlier, did you know that he only made $9 on the Raven when he published it in his lifetime? That was it.
$9?
$9.
Wow.
He won a contest and he got his $9 prize, and that was it.
And then it's probably made millions for people by now.
Yeah, just the pop culture references alone.
Oh, yeah. Insane.
And
the Raven is intertwined in Fall of the House of Usher, obviously.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah.
You need to watch it. It is the best. Well, cool, Amber. Well, I've loved this episode. I hope you had a good time.
I really did. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is so much fun. Let people know one more time where to find you at and all that good stuff.
So I am most easily accessible on Instagram at Hell Yeah, It's Amber.
Nice.
And my TikTok is the same handle. I don't post on there too often, but when I do, it's usually a reading video. So you can dive into that if you want to. And you can find my books under Decker on Amazon.
Heck yeah. Well, I love it. I'm a fan, and I'm going to definitely get that book when it comes out. Did you say January?
January, yep.
Appalachian Gothic coming out this January. Edgar Allan Poe and Jessica White rob a bank. Yeehaw. No, that's a joke, obviously, but that would be pretty epic.
That would be.
Yeah, I mean, come on. All right, well, thank you. Everyone else out there, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube if you haven't. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, take a minute, leave a review. Have you left a review?
I have.
Bless you. Thank you so much. Really helps. We're trying to hit 100 reviews. I think we can do it before the year comes up if you'll help us out. And we are on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And if you want a shirt or a hoodie or a hat or a sticker, we have all that at creepalachia.shop. And everyone else, please remember, above all else, long live Appalachia.